BOT Funds investigation report to President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Petty traders have been removed in an operation at Furahisha area in Mwanza. And in sports, the High Court of Tanzania has stopped Tanzania Football Federation TFF's election process. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's start things off with the national news. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has received from the Controller and Auditor General, CAG, the report on expenditure of funds from the Bank of Tanzania between January to March of this year. Here is more on the report.
The report was complied following a directive from President Samia Suluhu Hassan on the 28th March this year, after the CAG's report for 2019-2020 was handed over to her. In the report, CAG Charles Kichere said that investigations show that funds transferred from BOT during the period followed procedures, but that there were questionable payments from the Treasury to some government institutions, which include Tanzania Ports Authority and Tanzania Roads Agency.
Nimemkabidhi Mheshimiwa Rais taarifa ya ukaguzi wa Benki Kuu kama alivyoniagiza wakati nawasilisha taarifa yangu mwezi Machi.
I have delivered to the President the special audit report of the development funds released by the Bank of Tanzania between 1st of January to 31st of March this year, as she directed me when I submitted my CAG report in March. I have worked on the report for 3 months, assessing all 715 functioning accounts and going through over 500,000 transactions, and the person who ordered the audit will work on my findings.
Yangu naishia kufanya ukaguzi na kumkabidhi aliyenielekeza kufanya ukaguzi na ataifanyia kazi.
Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango has said there is still a need for African countries to be united and ensure strong systems are in place to liberate countries on the continent from various political and economic challenges. Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango made the statement in a speech presented on his behalf by the Minister of Constitution, Professor Palamagamba Kabudi, at the 12th Mwalimu Nyerere Chair Festival held at the University of Dar es Salaam, which also witnessed Professor Emeritus Isa Shivji, confirmed honorary lecturer of the Mwalimu Nyerere Chair.
African countries find a very close relationship with European countries that rule them more than neighboring countries. Sometimes to reach the neighboring countries, citizens have to go through European countries, so many countries are more connected with European countries in the United States more than they are connected to other African countries and doing business with them. One of the goals of the East African community is to have the East African Partnership, but after a deep discussion, we have decided to first begin with the East African Confederation. A special committee has been sent to prepare the constitution, and the work has been completed. We would like to thank the University of Dar es Salaam, especially the Vice Principal and his colleagues, for organizing this conference, and the participants are led by UNDP.
How the constitutional and legal architecture.
I want to tell you how the law can lie. For my part, the law is one of the things that capitalists use very much to make productive things for themselves. Many laws established by the capitalists provide the opportunity for inequality in society. The poor and capitalists are equal in the eye of the law.
And small traders conducting their activities at Furahisha area, Kirumba Street in Mwanza, have been removed from the area by the Land and Housing Council in the district, with force being used to demolish stalls belonging to traders who had violated a 14-day deadline to move.
Sisi ni wajasiriamali wadogo wadogo kama wafanyabiashara. Hapa kuna mama ntilie.
We are small traders, Some sell food and others engage in other form of business. So far we don't know where we are going to do business. We are not happy that the beacon was changed.
Meanwhile, during the operation to remove the Betty traders, 4 employees of cargo transporting company Kimji suffered electric shocks after the vehicle touched some electricity lines.
A demolition was going on, but unfortunately the crane touched the main electrical line, which caused the shock. It is important for people working in such an area to wear protective clothing. We are receiving patients who have suffered from electrical shock. Some have sustained injuries around the hand and at the back.
The Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, has met and held talks with Tanzania Mobile Network Operators Association, whereby he said that charges on mobile money transaction, which will start this financial year, aim to ensure every Tanzanian contributes to government revenues for the development of the country.
Do not only think of these as taxes, and that is why we have not joined it with other areas and the normal fund. We do not want those funds to be used in other areas. We will not put them in people's salaries or any other expenses. They will be used to resolve issues and challenges affecting citizens. Our call to all customers through TAMNOA, which includes Vodacom, TTCL, Zantel and all stakeholders that are services providers, is that we should be united in this, and all Tanzanians should support what has been put forth by the government so that we can attain development for all Tanzanians.
Ili kuweza kufikisha maendeleo kule ambapo yanatakiwa kufika kwa wananchi wote Tanzania.
A few days after Burundi opened its borders with Tanzania, which had been closed due to the coronavirus pandemic, residents living along the border in Kigoma region have urged the government to ensure more efforts are taken to inform the public on the virus, as many people have continued to ignore prevention guidelines such as wearing of face masks.
I do not see any caution being taken because interactions began after Burundi opened its borders, but there are still gatherings despite the fact that people are being tested in Burundi and here in Tanzania. We're still providing education because it is key to continue to do it every day as it prepares the public to implement the directives given from the health sector. I urge the public to continue to follow procedures for the coronavirus set by the government. The major thing is we all need to continue to follow the precautions given by health experts from the both countries on how to protect themselves from COVID-19 infection, especially from this third wave. We'll continue to have the health checkpoints for the virus and provide services to those who are found to have some of the symptoms.
A land dispute has emerged after residents of Arkatan village, Sepeko Ward, Monduli district in Arusha region accused leaders of the village of distributing and selling land without following procedures, as well as providing fake title deeds.
We agreed so land can be divided to the poor, but the office was closed. In Stipili, he closed down the office and stayed home. If you needed land, you had to take money or cattle. You can see how we've been treated and end up with not enough land. We're asking for your help. Chairperson and your committee, intention was good, but from now on I've stopped any exercise to distribute land.
That's all for the national news. International news is next.
Are you ready for some great news? I'm Christine Mundwa.
And I am Eddie Micah Jr. with the brand new DW News Africa,
The show that tackles the issues shaping the continent.
now with more time to offer an in-depth look at all the trends that matter to you.
What's making the headlines and what's behind them?
We're on the streets to give you in-depth reports and insights.
DW News Africa.
In international news, at least 10 people were killed in an overnight raid in Beni, Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, that was carried out by the Allied Democratic Forces ADF rebel group. Residents said the attacks had set several houses on fire, fired on people and attacked others with machetes.
Government leaders should strive to end these things. All our activities have stopped and citizens are sad and angry for the murder.
Uganda has started to implement new restrictions against the coronavirus, which include closing of schools, churches, mosques, as well as a curfew that starts from 6 in the evening. The restrictions were announced by the government today following an increase in infections in June this year, with Kigali leading with the highest coronavirus cases.
Itakuwa ngumu kwa kila mtu yoyote. Inaonekana ni vigumu, sio rahisi sana, lakini sio kama waweke total lockdown. Kuliko kuweka total lockdown, afadhali masaa ya teremke kidogo ili watu watoke nyumbani angalau kidogo. Kama niyo 1000 utaokota barabarani, ama kama unafanya biashara unaweza hata ukaona hiyo 2000, hauwezi kujua. Inawezekana hata kama mtu akifungua tu hiyo 1000 2000 unaweza kupata na urudi nyumbani, sio kama wameweka total lockdown.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday met his host President Emmanuel Macron of France in Paris, during which the leaders discussed several bilateral and multilateral issues, which include French support on infrastructure projects.
Kenya commits itself to fully enforce gender-based violence laws and policies by adopting a gender-based violence indicator in the government performance contracting framework, to track duty bearers' accountability on enforcement and implementation of GBV laws and policies by 2022. Kenya also agrees to ratify and implement the ILO Convention 190 on eliminating gender-based violence and harassment in the world of work by 2026. We will also invest $23 million for gender-based violence prevention and response by 2022 and increase the resource allocation of this to $50 million of own funding by 2026.
And the government of Uganda has said that the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has agreed to give the country a loan of $1 billion, which will be issued in phases to rescue the economy, which has been hit by the coronavirus pandemic.
Who failed to provide accountability?
And Burundi today marked its 59th independence anniversary at celebrations held in Bujumbura, which were also attended by Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa of Tanzania. Other leaders also present at the occasion include the President of the Central African Republic, Speaker of Parliament from Kenya, and ministers from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Djibouti, Egypt, and Qatar.
Suluhu Hassani anawapongeza sana wana Burundi kwa kusherehekea sherehe hii ya leo ya miaka 59 ya uhuru wa Burundi. Jambo hili sio la mzaha, ni jambo muhimu. Tunasema jambo muhimu kwa sababu toka Mheshimiwa Rais Ndayishimiye ameingia madarakani, tumeendelea kushuhudia utulivu mkubwa kabisa nchini Burundi. Hongera sana, jipigeni makofi.
And that is all for the international news. Business news follows after this very short break.
This week on Culinary Delights.
At Paparotti, every day is a fun day and not just a fun day. Thank you.
This is the potatoes and this is the wings. Chicken buffalo wings. And this one with the buffalo sauce. We have a special buffalo sauce.
Okay.
Totally different.
All right. So
I need you to taste this one.
Here, Dar es Salaam is a very hot city, and one of the unique things, apart from the bun, is the drinks.
Yes.
Hii ni brownie frappe, tunakwenda kuimimina.
Okay, so this is the brownie frappe. Okay, let me taste it. Lovely. I love that chocolate cake.
Yes.
It's there, it's rich in flavor,
Yes.
and it's creamy all the way.
On Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on Capital Television.
In business news. Two investment institutions from Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar have agreed to harmonize laws and give each other investment projects whenever the need arises. The developments were reached during a meeting in Zanzibar between Tanzania Investment Center and Zanzibar Investment Promotion Agency.
Both teams have been given tasks to do in order to look at the rules that can attract more investment. Our lawyers will propose and reach the levels of changing laws where we see the speed of investment is high. If we want to welcome these people, we should find out ways to attract them to come and invest. Many countries are focused on investment, including Kenya, Rwanda, and Mozambique. So we need to reduce some taxes to attract them.
And mobile phone company Tigo, which is sponsoring the Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair for the 6th consecutive year, has opened a shop at the fairgrounds in order to provide services throughout the fair.
We're glad that we can support TanTrade so as to increase jobs in Tanzania and business.
Some sesame farmers in the coast region have said that rising prices and timely payments at auctions will improve their incomes. The farmers said this at the 5th auction, whereby a kilo of sesame was sold at 2,355 shillings.
Farmers who left, this is the time to return and start farming. I believe for the 2022 season, agriculture will increase double this year. The government should reduce taxes so that these pesticides are easily available so that people can get more motivation.
Hii inaonyesha kwamba bei msimu huu wa ufuta bei zinaongezeka mnada hadi mnada.
Season the price is increasing and every auction prices have been increasing. And we as the main cooperative association in the coastal region have every reason to celebrate ourselves because we have overcome the goals we have set. Our estimate were to produce 10,000 tons of sesame, but in just this auction we have already sold 11,000 tons.
Tayari tumeshauza tani 11,000. Kwa hiyo unaweza kaona hata makisio yetu tayari tumeshayavuka na tunategemea kufanya minada mingine miwili, mnada wa 6 na wa 7.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lent.
And now in sports. The High Court of Tanzania has stopped Tanzania Football Federation TFF selection process with reasons yet to be announced. Here's the story.
The elections, which were to be held in August 7th in Tanga, have been halted by the High Court, with the President Wallace Karia, the Chair of Electoral Committee and the Sponsors Committee called for explanation as to why the elections have been halted. Several football stakeholders have criticized the process of elections, with the current president, Mr. Karia, being the only remaining presidential candidate.
And Jadon Sancho is poised to finally join Manchester United after an initial transfer fee of £73 million was agreed with Borussia Dortmund. The winger has agreed to a 5-year deal. Here are more details.
The deal includes £5 million in add-ons, but they have been described as quite difficult to reach. The deal for the 21-year-old is subject to medical, but neither club expect any issue. The transfer will bring to a close one of the longest-running sagas of the past few years. United have been keen to sign Sancho for some time, but not quite reached an agreement. Dortmund were keen to sell this summer, and in the end, a compromise was reached. Today, both clubs confirmed the deal, with Dortmund saying United will pay BVB a fixed transfer compensation of £73 million, and the Premier League club stating that they were delighted to have reached an agreement and that the medical will take place after Euro 2020.
Chris Paul has led the Phoenix Suns into their first NBA Finals in 28 years, beating the Los Angeles Clippers 130-103 on Wednesday night to close out the Western Conference Finals in 6 games.
Points, and Devin Booker added 22 to send the Suns to their third Finals appearance in franchise history. They will face either the Atlanta Hawks or Milwaukee Bucks, who were tied 2-2 in the East Finals. Paul reached the NBA Finals for the first time on the same Staples Center court, where he helped bring the Clippers to respectability over 6 seasons that ended in 2017 without ever getting past the second round. The 36-year-old guard punished his own team with 31 points in the second half and tied his playoff career high of 41, the same amount Paul George had, in pushing the Clippers to a road win in Game 5.
Tottenham have appointed Nuno Espirito Santo as their new manager after a protracted search to find a permanent replacement for Jose Mourinho. Nuno, who left Wolves at the end of the season in May, has signed a 2-year deal.
Mourinho was sacked in April, with Ryan Mason being put in a temporary charge. After that, Spurs have held talks with a number of candidates, including Antonio Conte and Gennaro Gattuso, without being able to find an agreement. Tottenham finally turned to another Portuguese. In a statement released by Spurs, Nuno said, "When you have a squad with quality and talent, we want to make the fans proud and enjoy." Daniel Levy, the Tottenham chairman, added, "First of all, I would like to welcome Nuno to the club. We should like to thank our supporters for their patience throughout this process."
Our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
Ule msimu wa kunufaika na vituo vyako bora umewadia. Ni msimu mwingine wa Sabasaba. Vituo vyako bora vya ITV Radio 1, Capital Radio na Capital Television wanakuletea ofa kabambe. Pata fursa ya kutangaza nasi kwa bei ya punguzo kabisa. Nunua matangazo manne ya sekunde 30 kwa shilingi 500,000, na kwa upande wa radio matangazo madogo madogo yani casual adverts kwa shilingi 100,000. Ofa hii ya msimu wa Sabasaba pia inahusisha vipindi vya dakika 5 na 10 kwenye TV na Brand Talk kwenye radio. Kwa maelezo zaidi wasiliana na idara ya masoko kwa simu nambari 0658777144 au 0676777147. Ofa hii ni kuanzia tarehe 15 mwezi wa 6 hadi tarehe 18 mwezi wa 8 2021. Vigezo na masharti kuzingatiwa.
This week on Culinary Delights.
At Paparotti, every day is a fun day, and not just a fun